Title: My father wasn't just a quiet man. I always thought my dad, Charlie, was just a regular guy. A little withdrawn, sure, but he worked hard and provided for us. He spent most of his time in the garage tinkering with old radios and clocks, saying he liked to bring things back to life. My mom passed away when I was 10, and Dad raised me alone after that. We weren't close, but I always respected him. Last week, Dad died of a heart attack in his sleep. It wasn't a dramatic moment, just an old man going quietly. While sorting through his belongings, I decided to clean out his garage. It was my least favorite place as a kid. It always smelled of oil, rust, and something I could never identify. I figured I'd find some old tools, more radios, maybe a stash of Playboys if I was unlucky. I found something else entirely. The locked cabinet. Tucked in the corner behind a stack of ancient, broken clocks was a heavy wooden cabinet I'd never noticed before. It had a padlock on it, which felt strange for Dad. He wasn't the type to keep secrets. I found the key on a hook above his workbench, marked with a small piece of tape that read Charlie's. When I opened the cabinet, my stomach turned. Inside were dozens of old Polaroid photos, neatly arranged in shoeboxes. At first glance, they seemed harmless. Pictures of smiling strangers, some standing beside landmarks, some in the woods, some just in their homes. But the more I looked, the more unsettling they became. In every photo, there was something slightly off. A shadowy figure lurking in the background, a hand gripping the edge of the frame, a face staring from a window that didn't belong. I realized the figure in the shadows was my dad. The journals. Beneath the photos were several leather-bound journals, dated from the 1980s through the early 2000s. I hesitated, but curiosity won out. The first entry I read was chilling. July 12, 1987. She didn't see me at first. Followed her from the diner. Took her in the woods. She cried for her mother. That's always the part that gets me. Buried her near the oak grove. Maybe next time I'll keep a souvenir. I slammed the book shut and nearly dropped it. My hands were shaking, but I couldn't stop. I flipped through more entries, each one detailing a different victim. Some entries were brief, almost clinical, while others rambled on about the rush he felt, how their pleas for mercy were a melody. Dad wasn't just tinkering in the garage. He was planning, hunting. The box. At the bottom of the cabinet was a metal box. I opened it to find what I assume were the souvenirs he mentioned. Necklaces, earrings, a small toy car, a stained scarf. I didn't want to touch anything, but then I saw something that made my blood run cold. A locket. I recognized it instantly. It belonged to my mom. I didn't want to believe it. Maybe he'd kept it as a memento after her death, but I couldn't ignore the date scrawled in one of his journals. August 3rd, 1993, she found out. Said she'd go to the cops. Couldn't let her ruin everything. Buried her under the lilac tree. The lilac tree was my mom's favorite spot in our backyard. The letter. I spent the next few hours in a daze, unsure of what to do. That's when I found the letter, hidden beneath the box. It was addressed to me. Son, if you're reading this, I'm gone. I imagine you've found the cabinet by now. I never wanted you to know, but secrets have a way of surfacing. You might think I'm a monster, and maybe I am, but I did it for us, for you. The world is full of bad people, and I've only taken out the ones who deserved it. Your mother didn't understand. I couldn't let her stop me. You're different, though. You're my legacy. The tools are yours now. You'll know what to do. The ending. I called the police immediately and turned everything over to them, but that letter has been haunting me ever since. I keep wondering what he meant by "you'll know what to do." A part of me is terrified to admit that I do.